morning, everyone. So today I thought I'd show you one thing that I do in my garden that's actually, I did it last year as a test, but it's actually working quite well, and so I thought I would show you what I have done to mitigate some of the weeding that I have to do in my garden, and then I'll really quickly show you my greenhouse and how it's coming along. So I have my fenced-in area. This is to keep actually the rabbits out. The moose can actually jump over this probably, so actually not probably. I've seen them in the fall after we've harvested jump over the fence and eat what's left, but the dog keeps the moose away for the most part in the summertime. Anyway, last year I put down these paper bags, and these paper bags are just like Fred Meyer grocery shopping bags, and then we have had a lot of sawdust because of cutting up wood for the greenhouse, and we burn wood in the winter a lot of times, and so we've had a lot of sawdust. So I put sawdust down in between my rows. Last year I just did the fenced in area just to try it, and it worked great. So this year I've expanded it to some of my outside the fence things. We have onions, carrots here, beets, and then just lettuces, greens of different kinds. And then the rest of the garden is potatoes. I didn't have enough bags to do all the potatoes, but I didn't really want to do all the potatoes because I do have to hill those once they start sprouting. So I'll have to weed those. But once they start growing, they actually keep the weeds down because they get bigger than the weeds. But what I really love about this and what I've learned is great. So our soil temperature isn't very warm, but once it warms up, that's why we mound everything. But once it warms up, the tops dry out super fast. And so putting down this paper, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, it's moist down under the edge. So this sawdust is holding, you can see the moisture in this bed. And some of these, if I walk in there, you would see really well wherever my footprints are. But it just holds the water in the ground a lot longer next to the bed, so the plants do really well. And these ones have done exceptionally well. We've got broccoli here, 2 rows of broccoli, a row of cabbage, and then a row of cauliflower, or half a row of cauliflower, and then this center row here is peas. But they stay moist a lot longer, and I don't have to water quite as much, which in Alaska it depends on the year. This year we had lots and lots of rain, and then we've had no rain for like 2 weeks now, or close to 2 weeks. So I've had to water almost every day because the water drains really well from the soil, but it doesn't retain the moisture very well, especially in the mounds. So this is something that I've done. It works great. It's inexpensive. Actually, it's free because the bags are free at the grocery store, and the sawdust was free. Anyway, so I will now show you my greenhouse. Actually, I planted my zucchini. I just have 2 little zucchinis, and just as soon as I planted them, it got really cold for like 2 weeks, and then it got really hot the last 10 days, and so they got a little bit sunburned initially, but they're starting to put out new leaves finally. Hopefully we'll get some zucchini, these poor little plants. But anyway, I'll show you my greenhouse now. So a few days after we got the greenhouse built, my husband did build me a ramp. I was like, I don't want to be climbing up there, or I can't, I'm getting older. But anyway, he built me a nice little ramp. I love it. So we'll go inside and I'll show you what I have. So everything in here I purchased at the greenhouse because I just did not get anything started this year. And I didn't think I was going to get the beds, so I transplanted everything into pots. So now they're just in pots, which is fine. We're going to just do that this year, and I'm going to slowly get the beds filled. We've got one partially filled, but I'll just do that in my spare time throughout this summer so that they'll be ready next year for spring planting or early planting. So I'll tell you what I've got. I've got a chocolate mint here. My kids wanted me to try that, and a little basil because I had not enough pots initially, and so things got planted together. Here we've got rosemary, thyme, and oregano, and then I have, this one is a bush pickle, or sorry, yes, bush pickle cucumber, and this one is called a snacking, let's see, patio snacker. I actually had one planted in here, it died, And so I planted another one, so I got 2 tags. And then we've got several varieties of tomatoes. I don't know what kind. They are starting to flower. That's exciting. This one has 2 plants in it. That's why it looks so bushy, because I ran out of pots. This one just has one. And then this is another bush pickle. And then I have some parsley, some peppers, and some more basil. And these peppers have aphids. I have to get me some, what are they called? Ladybugs, I guess. I don't know. If anybody has any suggestions, that would be great. But they're all over just my peppers. They're not bothering my tomatoes at all. So I need to do something. Anyway, and then these are more tomatoes. And these are planted probably a little bit close together, but I only had a little bit of space that was full of dirt, and I ran out of pots again. So some little flowers on there. And then the last thing I bought, and this was kind of an afterthought, and I ended up with some more pots, or I bought some more pots, is some beans. I've tried to grow beans, I don't know how many times, probably not very many times, because I was not successful growing beans outside because it is too cold. The soil temperature is too cold. The summers have been too cold. I know there's people who have success in my area, but I think just my little microclimate doesn't really allow for it very well. So I planted them in here, and they are getting big. Everything in my greenhouse over the last 10 days has probably tripled in size, which is awesome, and I'm super excited to see that. But anyway, so there's my greenhouse tour and what we're growing and how well it's doing, or I feel like it's doing really well. It's better than anything I've grown in any kind of a greenhousey situation here in Alaska, because we haven't had really a greenhouse. We've just had plastic covering frames of various kinds. So this is exciting to me. So really quick before I'm done, I'm walking out here past my rhubarb. I cannot believe how huge this thing is. Every year it's huge. There's my little zucchini. It's right across the way, and we have harvested so much rhubarb off of this already. We've had rhubarb pie, rhubarb crisps. I made rhubarb barbecue sauce, which I might share. I wasn't sure if we would like that, but we loved it. And I don't know, it's just huge. And I love it. I love rhubarb. But anyway, I thought I'd share the rhubarb because it's huge.